Hello again, Andy with Handy Andy Handyman, and welcome to a project in the Buckhead area. We're off West Paces Ferry Road, and we're looking at a home that one of our clients just bought. And it's hard when you're buying a home because you get an inspection report and you think they're going to catch everything, and they really can't. I mean, it just depends on the weather, how dry it is. And in this case, our customer bought this house and he's having some drainage issues inside the house, and everybody coming out wants to sell him a water extraction system or deal with the water intrusion inside the house because those systems are really expensive. And the way we operate is we'd rather look at the drainage outside the house and deal with that first. And then in some situations, you really still need that system. On the far left side of the house, we'll get there in a second, they years ago installed a foundation drain that just doesn't work. It probably never worked. It can stay inside. We're not going to go inside and show that to you, but there's a few things with this house. He's got a gorgeous slate roof, which incidentally we repair. There's only a few companies in Atlanta that'll do that. I grew up throwing slate roofs in upstate New York, and so we can fix them. He's got gorgeous copper gutters that cost a fortune, and it's gonna be hard to see it in the video, but they're all streaked all the way around. Somebody had the great idea to put these gutter screens on top right here, and so the gutters really aren't draining properly. The screens need to be removed. You know, the only reason to have those is if you've got super high trees and you're kind of a dum-dum and you don't clean your gutters 2-3 times a year, as most of our clients do, then yeah, you can try those systems. But people sell you that stuff, they tell you it's maintenance free, and what it's doing is causing clog problems. But his more serious issue is all around the house. He's got these awesome 4-inch copper drains right here, but we need to just blow them through and clear them. But almost everywhere you go in this house, this one's not connected to anything. At one time it was, and you can see the old collector box right there. It clogged, and so they just bypassed it, and now all that water off this downspout, it drains right here against the house. And you can kind of see where it comes down through here. It drains out this way, and this whole sidewalk in heavy rain becomes a sluice, and all the water runs through here. When you get to the right side, I'm always skeptical when I see stuff like this. This is the previous owner's idea of, hey, I'm getting water in the basement at this point, so I'm going to put some pavers here and settle it up. When you pull it back, you'll see the cavity behind it and right here in front as well. So we need to seal this area up. We'll trench from here to about that condensate drain over there and just black tar and waterproof this area. We're going to do it in stages because I don't know that he needs to do everything that we would love to do here. This downspout right here, and the reason we're connecting these dots over here, there's actually a crack right here too, right here. The last heavy rain we got, he had some water in the basement in this area and on the left side of the house. Excuse me, the pollen is killing me this year. This right side right here is connected to black corrugated pipe, which is certainly clogged, and you can see it from all the streaking on this gutter right here. And if I can, we're supposed to get heavy rain this week, I'll double back. But we'd like to cut this one loose for now and just put a black solid drain pipe over to this area right here and create a sluice along the sidewalk. You can see all the erosion from the water that's coming off the side of the house in this area and along this beautiful brick path. You can see all the erosion through here. So for now, to save money and just get an idea of what's really going on with this house, we would just fill this with river rock and let it continue to drain down here and see what this problem becomes in the future. You can see with the dips in this walkway that over time, it's eroding out all the sand that they put underneath it. That's what this is. He's got a couple other drains buried back here. We're not going to deal with those right now, but we may have to down the road. And they never really thought about the drainage before they put all this stonework in here. Be really, really careful. I love landscapers, but be really careful with landscapers who sell you drainage systems because they usually won't work. And so he's got this drain that's coming off the whole back of the house, or the middle section of the back of the house all runs right through here. And guess what? Over time, the corrugated pipe clogged, and there you can see it sticking out of the ground. And so what did they do? The seller put this new piece on, it drains against the house, it flows back this way, and in really, really heavy rains, the water actually flows back this way and gets under that doorway right here. So we really need to go ahead and trench this. We won't do it in this phase. We'll see what this is here first, but we may end up connecting a drain pipe from here to about here, sink a drain box right here, and hopefully won't kill this tree, and then figure out how we can go ahead and trench and get to the retaining wall going that way, where we're also going to be replacing a black corrugated pipe through there. It's going to be a headache at first. Once he gets to it, You know, once the work is done, problem solved. All the mud and stuff back here, yeah, he had some structural support work done back here. And I love these guys. You can see the corrugated pipe right here. So they didn't replace this, but of course we left these voids right here, and guess what? When the rain comes, what does it do? Collects water right there. So in this last heavy rain, he had water in this part of the basement back here. From about that window back there is where they have an antiquated inside drain that serves absolutely no purpose. You can see the corner that they replaced up here. These fellows who were just here doing some work because the pipe was clogged, and so they replaced it. They've packed this area back in here with stone. I wish I was here to do our work before they did all this, but there's actually a drain line that runs right along this retaining wall all the way to the backyard back here, but it's black corrugated pipe and it's clogged. So I'm not going to walk back there right now, but the ends are both clogged back there. So we're going to trench and replace that with 4-inch pipe all the way up through here. Because we're getting some water inside the house in this area, we're going to very gingerly trench in this area and back seal this foundation with waterproofer below the surface. And they may have done some of that. We may find some of it's already done, but obviously it's not good enough if we're still getting water inside the basement. And here's part of their trick right here. Here's another void that was left on the side of the property. We've got some water intrusion on this wall. I believe it's a closet is behind here, just because they never sealed and caulked this. So in heavy rain, the water's getting in and getting behind that wall. My guess is that this little system they have here, they built this pipe out here to help be a support for the HVAC units that are out here. For us, we're probably going to have to remove this retaining wall right here. We've got a lot of electrical and gas lines that run through this area. The cable companies, utilities have already marked them. But we're going to try and trench, remove this black pipe, replace it with 4-inch, and come down this line and try and get away from these trees and come right underneath through here and pick it up on this side. It's not an easy project, but it's essential for him to do this, or he will continue to have water inside the house, or he can turn around and spend, you know, 30, 40 grand with a water system that he doesn't really need. So this retaining wall is slowly falling apart. It's not really a retaining wall. This is landscaping timbers. Excuse me. It's meant to last maybe 10 years at most. And so this corrugated pipe, we're going to try and get to replace it. We may not be able to get through here. We may just have to bypass it because we'd like to pick up from across the front of the house up here. There's a gutter on the other side right here, and come across here and drop it down with 4-inch pipe. And then we're managing all of these drains. You can't get a better gutter system than what he has here. This was very expensive, whatever the homeowner did with this copper. So somebody spent a ton of money on it, but it doesn't mean it works. And again, see, you got this corrugated pipe going in the ground right here. It's so clogged that the water's actually going behind it right in this area, which leads to like a wine cellar area, if I'm not mistaken. Little spot like here at the front of the house needs to be sealed under here. And then you've got the cracking in the masonry right here. This needs to be sealed with epoxy all the way up. And part of it is because there's no kick out flashing on that gutter up there. Water gets behind it, it runs right down that crack inside the house. If we can do it, I'd love to be able to pick up this downspout right here at the left corner of the garage, trench and connect this. And we're gonna have to pull up some of these pavers and trench across to connect it with this gutter and get that water down the left side of the house. It's almost impossible to do anything with this portion where they've got the pavers, and some of that water now, if you look at it in heavy rains, all this water heads right towards the house. When you look at this side of the house, we're at the garage right here. You can see a huge hole right here from where water's draining and pulling against the foundation. We'd like to trench this area and back seal it as well. And you've got another hole at the front corner right here. So we like to trench from about here, come around it, and just seal everything. This accordion style corrugated pipe is terrible. It's always going to clog. It's always going to cause you trouble. At one point, this was connected to something underground, and this was their solution to run it back up here, where guess what? This water pools here. It doesn't rain. It doesn't drain that way. It drains right back against the house, and it's formed a hole right here. Water is going to go to the lowest point of resistance, the lowest level and drop. And what we try to explain to homeowners is when you have gutters that don't function, every time it rains, the water comes over the edge like it's doing right here, and it's dropping right against your foundation and your slab, and it keeps that soil super saturated. So basically you get to a point where there's so much water in the area, hydrostatic pressure against the foundation forces the water to leach through the house into the inside of the house. Some of that you'll see light pieces of effervescence where it looks kind of like a gray cloud on your foundation. That's what that is. The water is leaching through hydrostatic pressure and forcing the minerals out of the masonry block or the concrete, and that comes to the surface and makes kind of a haze on it. But it's all because of your drainage. And so here, his drainage issues are fixable. It just takes time and money. And the real problem with this industry is that you get a lot of contractors out who they're only looking at what they do. So if they're a mold guy, every house in Georgia has mold. And so they get excited because they want to sell you a job that you don't really need. And so he doesn't have a major mold issue in the basement, just a few little spots that need to be treated. His issue more is like these gutters, like this gutter's clogged right through here. And so if you get a contractor like HandyANdy or find someone in your market that's been around for 10 or 20 years, they're comfortable with what they know and are able to express that to you. They've got warranties. They've been in business for at least 5 years or more, and they make sense. That's the big trick with a lot of what we do. A lot of this stuff is common sense, I swear to God. So if you listen to people that give you the fancy sales pitch and all these you don't need all that. Not for this. Not for this at all. So my brother and I run a crew of about 30 people. We've been doing this for almost 30 years in Atlanta. And this is another customer that will be happy to turn this around for him. You can reach us in the office sometimes at 770-912-2829. We've got another number for the office. Look online for it, and you'll be able to reach us. We pretty much do everything we have for years. See you at the next house. Bye for now.